The dinner rush at Dalton's diner had just begun when a little girl burst through the door, her cheeks streaked with dirt and tears. She couldn't have been more than 7. Her tiny fists were balled at her sides, her pink sneakers scuffed, and her voice trembled as she cried out, "Please! Somebody help! They're beating my mama!" Every fork in the diner froze mid-air. Conversation stopped. The only sound was the girl's ragged breathing and the sizzle of burgers on the grill. Most people looked at each other, unsure what to do. But in the back booth, a group of 5 bikers, big bearded men in black leather jackets, slowly stood up. They were members of the Road Guardians Motorcycle Club, a group the town usually avoided. People whispered rumors about them, troublemakers, rough guys, men you didn't want to cross. But today, those men didn't hesitate for a second. The tallest of them, a broad-shouldered man named Bear, crouched down to the girl's eye level. "Sweetheart," he said gently, "tell me where your mama is." The girl hiccuped through tears. "At our trailer, 2 miles down Old Pine Road, Mama's boyfriend got mad. He hit her. He wouldn't stop." Her voice cracked. "Please, you gotta help her." Bear's jaw tightened. Without another word, he looked at his crew. "Mount up," he growled. The bikers moved fast, faster than anyone expected men of their size to move. They escorted the girl to Bear's bike, helped her put on a spare helmet, and fired up their engines. The roar of the motorcycle shook the windows as they sped away from the diner like a thunderstorm rolling across the pavement. The end of chapter. Old Pine Road was a narrow, bumpy stretch leading to a cluster of worn trailers. As the bikers approached, they heard shouting and something slamming against metal. Bear's hands tightened on the handlebars. He parked his bike, lifted the little girl off, and told her to stay behind them. The boyfriend, a wiry man named Kurt, stormed out of the trailer, eyes wild, fists clenched. "Who the hell are you?" he barked. Bear didn't bother answering. He saw the woman, bruised, lip bleeding, standing just behind Kurt, her breath shaking. "Sir," Bear said evenly, "step aside." Kurt laughed, a sharp, ugly sound. "Or what? You think you're tough?" He never finished his sentence. One of the bikers, Tank, stepped forward and grabbed Kurt's wrist just as he was about to swing again. In one swift motion, Tank pinned him to the ground. Kurt screamed and kicked, but he didn't stand a chance. Bear helped the woman out of the trailer, steadying her when her knees buckled. The little girl ran into her mother's arms, sobbing with relief. "You're safe now," Bear told them. "No, they're not," Kurt snarled from the dirt. "You idiots are going to get arrested." "You should have thought about that before you raised your hand to her," Bear shot back. Another biker, Stitch, had already pulled out his phone. "Sheriff's on his way," he said. Kurt went pale. His second telejustice had in. When Sheriff Douglas arrived, lights flashing, he took one look at the scene and shook his head. "Kurt Miller," he said, "we've had complaints about you for months. Looks like justice finally caught up." Kurt was handcuffed and hauled into the back of the cruiser. The sheriff turned to the woman, Melissa, and her daughter, Lily. "You want to press charges?" he asked gently. Melissa nodded weakly. "I want him gone." The sheriff tipped his hat to the bikers. "Road Guardians, I can't officially endorse what you did, but I'm sure not complaining about the timing." Bear crossed his arms. "We just answered a call for help, Sheriff." After the ambulance checked Melissa and confirmed she'd be okay, the bikers didn't just leave. They fixed the broken door on her trailer, cleaned up the mess inside, and brought groceries from the nearest store. Lily sat on the steps eating the chocolate bar Stitch handed her, her eyes finally dry. Melissa hugged Bear, tears slipping down her cheeks. "You don't even know us," she whispered. "Why would you do all this?" Bear shrugged lightly. "Everyone deserves safety. Everyone deserves someone who shows up." Lily tugged Bear's sleeve. "Are you superheroes?" she asked. Bear chuckled. "No, sweetheart, just people who don't like bullies." The bikers revved up their motorcycles again, ready to head out. As they rode away, the sun dipped low on the horizon, casting long shadows on the quiet road. But one thing was certain. The story of the little girl who ran to the bikers for help would spread through town like wildfire, and the town would never look at those leather-clad men the same way again. Because on that day, the so-called rough guys became the heroes no one expected. And they didn't do it for praise. They did it because a frightened child asked for help, and they were men who answered.